What Rod Laver is to tennis, what Jack Nicklaus is to golf, that's what Bobby Fischer is to chess. And on June the 22nd, unless arrangements fall apart, and in the stormy world of chess anything can happen, Bobby Fischer of the United States will finally meet Boris Spassky of the Soviet Union in Belgrade, Yugoslavia, for the chess championship of the world. At stake, immense prestige for the Russians, who jealously guard their reputation as the country of the chess masters. They've held the world title for 35 years. Plus a purse of $138,500, the richest prize for a head-to-head confrontation in any sport but boxing. $90,000 of it goes to the winner. Spassky is the current world champion, and Fischer has never beaten him. Bobby first won the U.S. title when he was 14 years old. Now he is 29. He is temperamental, explosive, and unpredictable. Within the past 2 weeks, he almost capsized the match with Spassky by demanding more money than the sponsors of the match were willing to guarantee. He finally relented, and the match was saved. It's one that Bobby has been pointing at for years. He won the right to play for the World Championship in Buenos Aires last fall. His opponent there in the semifinals, Tigran Petrosian, former world champion, and of course, a Russian. Bobby crushed Petrosian. Chess experts said it was almost no contest Bobby's power game was so superior. Boxing champions have been coming to the Catskill Mountains of New York for almost half a century to get in shape. The bracing mountaineer attracted the likes of Max Baer and Rocky Marciano, Ingemar Johansson, here to Grossinger's in the Catskills. But does a chess champion need to train physically? Take a look behind that window into the training headquarters of Bobby Fischer. Championship chess is a physically exhausting game. More than just a test of mind and will, it is a contest of physical endurance, too. Bobby is 29, and he lives virtually a monastic life. Exercise is part of it.
Here, right, up, down, up, down, up, down. Once more.
He lives alone, always in hotel rooms that seem barely larger than chessboards. The television set is his window on the world. Daytimes for his exercises, nighttimes for old movies. It is almost the only company he keeps. A lot of the time, he won't even answer his telephone. He's shy, suspicious of strangers. It took us nearly 6 months to persuade him to sit for this television portrait. Fischer was a child prodigy. He began playing when he was 6. A prodigy, but never the darling of the chess world. From the beginning, he gave officials a hard time. He'll refuse to play a match because his special terms aren't met. It's either money or the number of games or the schedule of play. Nothing is ever quite right. He isn't even U.S. champion now because he refused to play under the conditions laid down by the U.S. Federation. And for the past month, he's been giving fits to the International Federation, too. Not enough money for the winner of the world title, he says. He's sure he's going to beat Spassky, and he thinks he's worth more than a mere $90,000. He's a stubborn young man. Sometimes he fights for principle, more often just for himself. Before we settled down to talk to Bobby, we asked him to play one of the coming generation's most promising players, 12-year-old Lewis Cohen. The game is speed chess. Each player has 5 minutes to finish, which makes the contest as violent as chess ever appears to someone who doesn't really understand the game. And Bobby, even here, plays to win. No mercy for the young. Before the 5 minutes are up, he closes in for the kill. Check, and Lewis Cohen concedes. Winning is obviously very important to you. Now, winning for winning's sake is important. But do you like to beat another man?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I like to beat another man.
Well, you smile about it. You like to crush another man's ego?
Uh-huh. So when they go home that night, you know, they know that they can't kid themselves that they're so hot, you know.
You think the Russians are pretty worried about you at this moment?
Oh, yeah, they have been ever since I started playing chess.
Even as a little boy?
That's right. I remember the first thing they ever wrote about me was, you know, he's a talented player, and, you know, they showed a game I played, and then they said, but all this publicity he's getting and all of this attention, cannot fail to have a harmful effect on his personality development. And sure enough, a few months later, I was a rotten person already in their press. I was doing this, I was doing that, I was conceited, you know. This is, you know, before I'd ever even, you know, they even knew anything about me personally, you know.
They sting you. They get to you.
Well, they don't anymore because I realize it has nothing to do with me. You know, if you were a great chess player, they'd be saying the exact same things about you. Maybe they just tailor them a little bit to your personality or your background.
This championship match between you and Spassky, is it in any sense a grudge match?
In a sense. I mean, not personally against me, against Spassky, because, you know, I don't care 2 cents about him one way or the other. He's just another guy. But it's against the Russians and, you know, all the lies they've been saying about me.
Do you worry about Spassky?
Not overly. I mean, he's a little better, I think, than the other Russians I've taken on in this series. But,
You've played Spassky. He's beaten you, but you've never beaten him.
Yeah, well, we've only played a few games. So we were just the other day looking through that his games from that Moscow event, that Alekhine tournament, and they were atrocious games. He was really, he was lost in half the games in that tournament. Really bad games on his part.
Why would that happen to a man who, after all, is the champion of the world?
Well, the champion of the world. First of all, I didn't compete, so he's not really much of a champion, but, you know, he's the best they've got. That's a big deal.
Where do you get your confidence?
Well, when you're successful, you realize there must be something going on. I mean, why am I so successful? There must be a reason, right? So obviously there's something, some natural ability, some, you know, factors working, right?
Right. Sometimes what we're talking about is described as Fischer's arrogance. I sense that it's something quite different. You simply...
Yeah, this arrogance, like, people have been calling me arrogant for many years, but lately they're not calling me arrogant. Why? Because now, you know, I've been winning all these matches, and I'm doing what I've always said I was, you know. So I used to say I was the best player in the world. Everybody's arrogant, terrible, conceited person, you know.
Right.
But this is just an obvious fact.
It's not just the arrogance of your saying that you're the best in the world, but the lights are too tough, or the temperature is too high, or arrangements aren't right. It's difficulty of dealing with you that people complain about.
Yeah, but the thing is, everybody was looking at it from the organizer's point of view, you know. The organizers, I mean, you wouldn't believe the kind of conditions they want us chess players to play in.
For instance?
Oh, I remember playing once. I played in Berlin. I played a match with the best players in Berlin, you know, American team against the Berliners. And, you know, I had guys leaning right on my head practically, smoking in my face, spectators. And this, for these organizers, is perfectly all right. They feel that they're doing a wonderful thing by organizing it, and the chess players should be eternally grateful to them. You know.
Is chess a tough game for the body as well as the mind?
It is pretty tough, yeah, because of all the tension and all the, you know, a lot of concentration, sitting there for hour after hour. It's real exhausting.
I think that that's pretty difficult for somebody who doesn't know the game to understand. It looks like, I mean, after all, you and I sit at a board.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's kind of like after you go in to take your, you know, your final exam or something, you're pretty tired, right? So it's like taking a 5-hour exam every day or something, you know.
You belong to a church called the Church of God.
Well, I really don't want to get into that, you know.
Okay.
I guess that's a private part of my
Fine.
You know, life.
Bobby does not like personal questions. He won't talk about his religion. He was born a Jew, now he is a fundamentalist. Nor will he talk about his relatives. His father left when Bobby was 2. He never sees his mother nor his sister. No girls in his life. He claims he hasn't time for them. He's a loner even in sports. He didn't want to bowl against anybody else the night we spent with him. He likes to perfect whatever he does by himself. And he does it with incredible intensity. He can sit 5 hours at a chessboard virtually without moving, take away the board, and he's constantly in motion.
Wish he were mine.
His appetite is gargantuan. He'll drink a quart and a half of milk at a sitting. And then, with an almost explosive energy, back to the alley. And perfection.
He's the envy of all the rest. It's just a matter of time.
We spent Bobby's 29th birthday with him at Grossinger's. He came alone, no family, no friends. At the table with him, little Louis Cohen. And Bobby disdained the cake that we had ordered for him. Happy birthday to you. You were worrying about this? Why were you worrying about it?
You know, I just don't go. First of all, I don't eat this kind of cake. Second of all, I don't go for these things.
All right. Yeah. Shall we take it away, please?
Yeah. All right. I appreciate it. Yeah.
His only constant companion is the big red book of Spassky, a collection of 350 tournament games that Boris Spassky, the man he wants to take the world title from, has played. Bobby's training for the title match consists of studying every one of those games, every move, every strategy. He carries the book with him everywhere as if to absorb its contents through his fingertips. He has no advisors, no coaches, no manager. He doesn't really trust anyone's advice. In a sense, his most reliable friends are the pieces on the board. His strategies, in life as in chess, are mysterious and his own. This summer, he will finally play Boris Spassky for the championship. And perhaps he'll prove what he has always said, that Bobby Fischer is the best chess player in the world. But win or lose, Bobby wants everyone to know he did it by himself.
Perhaps the most successful Soviet dissident to date isn't an author or artist. He's, of all things, a chess player. His name is Garry Kasparov, and chess has made him not only a millionaire, but a kingmaker of sorts. Since the mid-'80s, he's been the player at the board and a player in the risky business of Russian politics. If he's boastful, he has plenty of reason to be. And with all his success, he is still, in front of those 64 black and white squares, a single-minded predator who has single-handedly brought new life to an old game.
I believe I could beat anybody in the match. I mean, I'm not as convincing in the tournaments as before because, again, my concentration is diversified. But I believe in the match, 1-to-1, I'll beat anybody today.
Like Muhammad Ali before him, it's not an idle boast. For more than a decade, Garry Kasparov has been champion of the world. He's still only 33.
And Kasparov has won the game.
With each stunning victory, the aura of invincibility grows.
I think he's the Michael Jordan of the sport. I think he's raised the level of the game to a higher level.
Journalist Fred Waitskin, himself the father of a chess prodigy and author of a book on Kasparov, has seen the champion work his magic up close.
Kasparov has such an intimidating presence across the board that in tournaments I've seen him intimidate really great players before a first move is played. I mean, he's just scary. He also has the kind of charisma that absolutely electrifies chess fans.
World champion Garry Kasparov.
He comes into a tournament hall and people get itchy. Girls get excited. They're thrilled, you know, to be in the room with Garry Kasparov because he's this creature of the game.
Look at that pain. Look at his face.
This creature was described by one opponent this way. He has one flaw in character as well as in chess. He has an internal urge to create wonders, to put himself in lost situations and then escape from them.
Yeah, I love difficulties, yes. I love trouble. You know, I'm kind of perfectionist, you know. I'm looking for best move. I'm trying to find something great in each position. And that's why, you know, probably I need this trouble to mobilize most of the resource of my organism, you know, of my nerve system. And then it's at the greatest moments and the most difficult moments of my life, I always played my best chess.
There was no shortage of difficult moments for a young genius born into the Soviet system. Politics were as irresistible as chess. He realized from the age of reason that there was something terribly rotten in the state of Russia. An outsider from the start, from Baku in the Republic of Azerbaijan, born Garrick Weinstein, the child of an Armenian mother and a Jewish father who died when Garry was just 7.
I was getting this incidental education from my uncle, from the younger brother of my father, from these Jewish professors, I had an access to a lot of books. And by being educated much better than most of my schoolmates, I realized that something was going wrong.
What sustained him was his desire from the earliest age to become world champion. His hero then was the world champion, the American Bobby Fischer, a maverick who thumbed his nose at the system, any system. When Fischer played the Russian Boris Spassky in 1972, it was war by other means. You were age 9?
Yes, age 9.
Who were you rooting for?
Fischer.
Why?
Most of people I knew in the Soviet Union, they were rooting for Fischer. It's kind of internal protest. People wanted an American to win, and also Fischer's chess. I mean, it was so aggressive, so dynamic, so nice. It was bringing new life into the game.
But Fischer refused to defend his title and simply disappeared. The championship was awarded by default to Anatoly Karpov, communist to the core. The Politburo's poster boy was a brilliant chess player, but he stood for everything Kasparov despised. You dislike him intensely. You hate him, correct?
No, I wouldn't say so. Maybe some people like him. I hate the communist system, and Karpov is a symbol of that system, because title of world champion in chess had a prime importance for the ideological leaders of the Soviet Union.
Karpov was the great white hope.
Exactly.
The great red hope.
Exactly.
When the two met for the world title in Moscow in 1984, there was much more than chess going on. It became a fight for the soul of Russia, and it looked like a communist victory. Kasparov was losing 5-0. One more loss, and the Soviet hero would retain the title. You were losing 5-0.
5-0.
It was almost inevitable
absolutely inevitable
that you would get beaten.
Yeah, after game 27, I was losing 5-0, and he needed 6 wins to close the show. And for next 21 games, almost 3 months, he couldn't do it.
But Kasparov could. Over 155 grueling days, he won 3 games to come within 2 of a tie. Karpov was clearly beaten when all of a sudden,
the match is ended without decision.
The International Chess Federation declared the match over due to, quote, the exhaustion of both players. Kasparov was livid.
For the first time in 5 months, I have certain chances, and now they're trying to deprive me of those chances.
I have been waiting for 155 days for the moment when I'm, coming back, I'm full of energy. I'm still trailing down 2 points, but the guy just can't win, He's hopeless. The match was fully controlled by the Soviet officials, and could you believe that the darling of the system, the Russian champion, fully protected by the members of Politburo, could be sold down to a Jewish Armenian boy from Baku, who was not socially associated to the system.
But in the rematches, the fading Soviet system couldn't save the fading Karpov. And Garry Kasparov, at age 22, became the youngest world champion in history. He was Grand Master of the Universe, romping on the beaches of Baku with his mother and his friends. It was the late 80s, the time of glasnost and perestroika, a time when the West believed the Soviets under Mikhail Gorbachev were truly reforming. But Kasparov, looking many moves ahead, wasn't buying Gorbachev's message.
If you listen to what he said, repeatedly said, he wanted to improve communist system. Every time he repeated the same story. We wanted the socialism with a human face. And my constant reply was that Frankenstein also had a human face.
His fears were horribly realized when Azerbaijanis in Baku and elsewhere turned on their Armenian neighbors, including many of Kasparov's friends and relatives. It was an ethnic bloodbath many believed was provoked by Gorbachev, to quash independence and keep the communists in power.
Suddenly, the Soviet troops, the Red Army, entered the city. Official reason was to save the Armenians, but there were no Armenians in the city. You know, the reason was very simple: to save the regime, to save, you know, the Communist Party of Azerbaijan, and to replace it with the right man, a man from Moscow.
You chartered a plane to get people out.
Yeah, 64 people. Yeah, but I never came back, and I don't think I will ever come.
Kasparov did become one of Boris Yeltsin's biggest boosters. And as a contributing editor of the Wall Street Journal, he won respect among American conservatives as a savvy commentator on Russia's faltering steps towards democracy. Meanwhile, the chess world was going through at least as much turmoil. The cause? The return of Bobby Fischer. Announcing a $5 million match against old rival Boris Spassky, Fischer denounced Jews in general and Kasparov in particular, calling him a liar and a cheat.
He was hurt by it because I think he admired Bobby Fischer greatly. I don't think that's the case now. I think people realize who Bobby is, that he had his time, that he was great, that he's now an older, middle-aged fellow who's not completely with it anymore.
Fischer was beyond the pale. The match was to be played in Serbia in the middle of a war, despite U.S. sanctions against any Americans dealing with the Serbians.
So this is my reply to their order not to defend my title here. That's my answer.
Fischer played and won, and now faces arrest if he enters the United States. Is he crazy?
I don't know. I never met him. I can, you know, from what I read and from what I heard from other people, the man is definitely not normal. And again, the fact that it was Fischer, I think it was a very, very big damage for the game, because the legend about Fischer, about the greatest genius that being alone could defeat a whole system, the Soviet system, with its world champion, this legend served chess perfectly.
Just as Kasparov serves it today. But legends are not immortal. Where is Garry Kasparov 10 years from now? You're at the ripe old age of 43, and I'm sitting here talking to some 23-year-old who's whipped you 5 times. Is that a?
It will not happen 5 times. You know, I'm a quick learner.
And as we said, a predator. If your idea of chess is this, a silent and leisurely pastime for the intellect, you are sadly out of date. At the upper levels, it exhausts and humiliates. But now Kasparov is pushing a new element, speed. 10-minute games, something like a 2-mile sprint.
Look at this. It's a race, and both pawns are going to queen. And Kramnik's
designed for cable TV and MTV attention spans.
King up.
And the Players Union he helped organize has pumped up the prize money from corporate sponsors. He won $900,000 for this title defense last year in New York, and has won more than $500,000 playing 2 supercomputers which have yet to beat him.
Absolutely a world championship performance.
All in all, a very good life for the kid from Baku, whether at home in Russia or at ease in all the world's capitals. But still the nervous outsider, still Russian to the core.
I disagree with war in Chechnya. I disagree with the way to handle the economy. I disagree with that, and that. I think the government very often is inefficient and stupid. But Yeltsin gave us 2 things, freedom of speech and the private ownership. And that's 2 cornerstones of Russian democracy.
For 20 years, Garry Kasparov was the greatest chess player in the world. He won his first world championship at the age of 22 and was ranked #1 almost continuously until he retired from international competition 2 years ago, a Russian hero and a very wealthy man. He could have done anything he wanted. Instead, he chose to make the riskiest move of his career. He entered the treacherous world of Russian politics and has become one of President Vladimir Putin's harshest critics, accusing him of abolishing democratic reforms and turning over the country's vast natural resources to a small political elite. It is the match of his life. The odds are long and the dangers considerable. But Kasparov believes the soul of a nation is at stake. Throughout his career, Garry Kasparov intimidated opponents with his intensity, creativity, and daring. He could look at a chessboard and see 15 moves ahead. At this Toronto exhibition in June, he took on 20 opponents and beat all of them in an hour and a half. But his latest undertaking, leading protests against a powerful and popular government, is a much more difficult challenge. This time, it's Kasparov who is considered the amateur, playing against grandmasters in the Kremlin.
What's the difference between chess and politics?
Chess has rules, and everybody has to follow the rules. And in Russian politics, there are no rules at all, except one rule. The Kremlin, our opponents, changing rules at their convenience anytime they want.
And this is the man who changed them.
Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin.
When President Vladimir Putin was elected 7 years ago, regional governors were selected by the people. Now, they're appointed by Putin's office. Big media outlets, once receptive to a wide range of political views, have fallen under state control. And opposition groups like Kasparov's United Civil Front say they have been shut out of the national debate and cut off from the electoral process.
We're facing a very dangerous regime that is threatening not only the future of my country, but the stability of the whole world.
What are you opposing?
Every element of this regime. No elections, censorship, the destruction of all democratic institutions.
You don't think Russia's a democracy?
No, Russia is a police state today.
A police state?
Russia is a police state.
When he's been able to organize protests, Kasparov has been met with thousands upon thousands of riot police and special troops brought in from the countryside to ensure order and discourage participation, sometimes with truncheons.
This regime is criminal.
Kasparov has been detained, fined, and investigated. He assumes that his political headquarters in Moscow is bugged and that he is under constant surveillance.
Here we are.
Not exactly luxurious accommodations.
Yeah, but revolutions are not conceived in luxury.
In December, the authorities raided this office looking for evidence that Kasparov had violated a vaguely worded extremism law, which makes it a crime to make false statements about government officials. It was enacted to fight terrorism, but now Kasparov says it's being used to stifle dissent, but it hasn't stopped him from speaking out.
I would probably say that Putin doesn't run the country. He runs corporation, call it KGB Incorporated. He is working on behalf of the ruling elite that wants to benefit from looting the country.
Are you an extremist?
I'm afraid that by current Russian law, yes, because that's what Russian law implies.
So you could go to prison just for criticizing the government or staging a rally?
Technically speaking, yes.
And what are the penalties?
Up to 6 years in prison.
It would not be the first time government critics have been silenced. Mikhail Khodorkovsky was once one of the richest men in Russia until he displayed some political ambition. Now he's in a Siberian prison. The investigative reporter Anna Politkovskaya was shot to death outside her Moscow apartment, and former KGB agent Alexander Litvinenko was poisoned to death in London with radioactive polonium. There is no evidence linking Putin to the deaths, but there is no denying that bad things tend to happen to people who challenge authority.
There have been people in this country, prominent people who have lost their lives. Does that concern you?
It does, you know. I'm a normal human being. I have my private life and my loved ones concerned about my safety. I try to reduce the risk.
Do you think that you're protected somewhat by your fame? By the fact that you're still considered a national hero?
It does help to a certain degree, but it is not an ultimate protection. No one is safe in Putin's Russia.
Kasparov goes nowhere in Russia without bodyguards. 2 on a normal day in Moscow, more if he's traveling outside the capital or to a protest march like this one in St. Petersburg, which we attended.
Kroft. K-R-O-F-T.
Like most of these events, it was widely covered by the Western media and all but ignored by the Russian press. Despite a strong police presence, more than 1,000 people turned out to voice their displeasure with the government, and Kasparov enjoyed being in the middle of it. He told us he always played his best chess in the most difficult situations.
We've been together a couple of days, and this is the happiest I've seen you here in the middle of this crowd.
Because I can see that people respond. You know, they are overcoming their fear. That's how we can win.
In chess, when you're in danger of being checkmated, you have to do what you can to survive. And Kasparov has established an alliance called the Other Russia, a broad coalition of widely divergent political parties that have little in common other than their opposition to Putin's regime. The tactic has produced some of the largest political protests since Putin came to power and raised eyebrows about some of his allies, like the National Bolshevik Party, which envisions a socialist Russian empire stretching across most of Europe and reminds some people of the Nazis.
They've got a flag.
Banned flag already. It's banned already, so that's why it's...
Looks very familiar to me.
It looks familiar, yes. I'm not happy with that at all.
If you're fighting for democracy, how can you march with fascists?
They're not fascists.
You say they're not fascists. That's not what we're told.
Yeah, but it's fascist is a word. Oh, I'm also called fascist by some of the Kremlin factions.
Do you agree with what the National Bolsheviks stand for?
They stand for a number of things that I may disagree, but we agree on one thing: the restoration of free and fair elections, no censorship, diminishing of presidential powers. What's wrong about that?
Kasparov was a great chess player. There's no doubt about it. I don't think he's a very good politician.
Vladimir Posner was once one of the Soviet Union's leading spokesmen. Today, he's host of Russia's most popular political talk show.
Does the average Russian know who he is?
Yes. Everyone knows that he was a great chess player, but today they know him as a fringe, as they would say, political figure. And he could not be elected dog catcher. Really not.
According to public opinion polls, Putin's approval rating is nearly 80%. He's viewed as being young, energetic, and well-spoken. And with Russia's huge energy reserves and soaring oil and gas prices, the economy is booming. Across from Lenin's tomb on Red Square, you'll find some of the most fashionable boutiques in the world. But most of all, Putin is seen as having restored Russia to its role as a world power. And he has effectively managed to associate the word democracy with the economic chaos and drunken behavior of the late Russian President Boris Yeltsin.
What has Putin provided? What has Putin given to
Stability
the people?
for most people, a better living standard gradually, a returned sense of pride. We're back, guys. You thought we were gone forever? You thought we'd play no more role? That Russia was now a third-class country? Well, you were wrong.
Kasparov says this is a police state.
The Soviet Union was a police state. And he should know the difference. Had this been the Soviet Union, he would have been in jail long ago.
Or sent to a gulag.
Or sent to a camp, the gulag. Today, he talks. He's out there.
Well, he's been detained and questioned.
Detained because
his offices have been raided.
Oh, sure. But compared to Soviet times, that's not persecution. That's Little Red Riding Hood kind of thing.
I mean, we're sitting here in your apartment. You're saying these things to us on television. There's nobody
American television.
American television.
Yeah.
But you'd say them on Russian television if you could.
If I could, yes, but I cannot.
You have a television show, one of the most popular television shows in Russia.
Yes.
If you had Mr. Kasparov on your program?
I have not.
Why not?
Because Channel 1 will not allow it.
Is this changed since Putin became president?
Definitely.
So you agree with Kasparov when he says that the democratic reforms that came into being initially have been rolled back?
They never really took root, and they were rolled back. Yes, absolutely.
But most Russians don't seem to mind. Many of them would like to see Putin rule with an even stronger hand. Vyacheslav Nikonov is a top Russian political analyst who advises the Kremlin.
Kasparov represents the attitudes of 3 or 4% of the electorate who are liberal and are very dissatisfied with Putin.
How important is democracy to the Russian people?
If you conduct public opinion polls and you ask the people what are the issues you are most worried about, you won't get democracy among the top 30.
We've talked to Russian commentators of varying political persuasions. Everyone here believes that Putin is incredibly popular, that people believe the economy is improved, that they like the stability, and that they aren't that concerned with democracy.
Within the center of Moscow, in the center of St. Petersburg and in some oil-rich regions, yes. You could see this country, a country that you just described, with growing middle class, prosperity. The problem is there is another country of 120 million that lives on the other side of the fence. Mm-hmm. And this country is very different from one that we just described.
I mean, if things are so bad here, why is Putin's popularity rating between 70 and 80%?
I don't know about his popularity rating. I think that if US administration had the same kind of control of media, I think Bush rating would be 75, 80% as well.
Mr. Garry Kasparov.
When he's not in Russia, Kasparov travels the world making speeches and writing books. The latest about how the principles of chess can be applied to life will be published this month. President Putin's term ends in May, and the Russian Constitution bars him from seeking re-election. Most analysts believe that whoever Putin endorses will win the next election hands down.
And you expect that election to be democratic?
Well, at this point, there is no need for the Kremlin to falsify the election. Putin is so popular that he can translate his popularity to his successor.
You're not saying that he wouldn't think of it, you're saying he doesn't need to.
Well, at this point, yes, the Kremlin does not need to falsify the election.
Kasparov hasn't said whether he'll run for election himself or throw his support behind another candidate. With parliamentary elections in December and the presidential elections in March, the stakes will soon rise, and perhaps the perils.
What does he have to fear?
Reprisals. The more dangerous he seems to the powers that be, the more danger to him.
Why are you doing this? You're a wealthy man.
Yeah, yes,
You're famous.
Yes, I am.
You're a great chess player. Why do you need this? Why do you need this?
Look, it's my country, and I believe that I have to try to change it for better. And it's following the motto of the Soviet dissidents that I learned at my childhood. So do what you must and so be it. And I do what I must.
Magnus Carlsen is the best in the world. He's a 21-year-old Norwegian, reigns supreme in a sport played by 500 million people. It's chess. Many don't think of it as a sport because nobody moves. But chess masters will tell you it can be more brutal than boxing. That's because at the championship level, the objective is not only to win, but to demolish your opponent. That can take hours. The best players need extraordinary endurance, so most of them are young. Magnus is the youngest #1 ever. And no one can explain to you how he does what he does. It seems to come from another world, which is why he's become known as the Mozart of chess.
Bord 10, G3.
Just look at what he's doing.
Bord 10, løper D2.
Competing against 10 players simultaneously.
Bord 4, løper G7.
That in itself is not extraordinary, but Magnus cannot see the boards. He's facing the other way.
Bord 5, C slår D4.
So he has to keep track of the positions of 320 pieces blind.
Bord 5, tårn B1.
And the number of possible moves, infinite. Magnus comes out on top. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Do you have any idea how extraordinary this looks to?
No, it's one of the amazing things in chess that you don't really need a board. You can just keep it.
But it transcends chess. I mean, I just can't fathom what you've just done. It's just, it seems like it's supernatural. Last December, we caught up with him at the London Chess Classic. He arrives with his constant companion, his father. Magnus will play against 8 other top-ranked players, but he is the star, as celebrated in this world as Eli Manning is in his.
The world #1 player from Norway, Magnus Carlsen.
Today, Magnus is playing America's #1, Hikaru Nakamura. The match will last 4 hours and there will be no breaks. Magnus will go on a stroll now and then, but his mind won't be going anywhere. He says he's concentrating not only on this game, but on other games played by other masters at other times, which he might want to draw on now. 10,000 of them. We gave him a test.
It was played right here in London, and Simpsons on the Strand in 1859. I don't know the month or day.
You got it wrong.
Not 59?
51.
Wow.
You see, your memory isn't superb in everything.
It's not what it used to be.
Chess players are pretty poker-faced, but occasionally Magnus will flash the smile of someone who knows it's all over but the handshake, while Nakamura dives deeper into doom. Magnus was playing brilliantly, and he knew it. Is there anything in life more satisfying than that feeling when you're playing brilliantly?
I don't know, but it's really, up there.
It's pretty good.
Yes.
The spectators seem as mesmerized as the competitors. They're all chess players, of course. If they weren't, it would be like watching paint dry. Worldwide, 100,000 are watching on their computers. The suspense keeps building until endgame, by which time it's cutthroat. But do you enjoy it when you see your opponent squirm?
Yes, I do. I enjoy it when I see my opponent, really suffering when he knows that I've outsmarted him. If I lose just one game, then usually, I just want to really get revenge.
This is war, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
For 50 years, chess was war. It was a battleground in the Cold War with the Russians, who were dominant. But then an American came along. His name was Bobby Fischer. In 1972, he took on the Russian champion Boris Spassky, and he won. It was an international spectacle, and the enthusiasm has not waned.
What number is this?
Back in London, just down the corridor from where Magnus is playing, 500 novices are learning how to master kings and queens.
Do you ever play any grown-ups?
Yes. Yep, I do play grown-ups. In fact, I'm getting to the hang of playing grown-ups.
Who's your favorite chess player?
Bobby Fischer.
Bobby Fischer.
And I like Magnus Carlsen.
You like Magnus?
Chess is now routinely taught in schools all over the world, including the United States. In some countries, it's compulsory. Chess can be taught, but not genius. Magnus seemed like a normal enough kid growing up outside Oslo. But wait a minute. When he was 5, he could name almost all the countries in the world, and their capitals, and their populations. Magnus's father, Henrik, didn't think that was terribly unusual.
He did have a good memory and the ability to concentrate for hours at a time on a specific topic, and he seemed to be interested in a lot of things, new things all the time. But I thought that was normal.
What got him into chess? Sibling rivalry. His older sister started to play, so he wanted to beat her, which he did, quickly. Then he started winning tournaments. Before long, he became a celebrity, one of the first Norwegians to excel in a sport that did not involve snow. People lined up in shopping malls to play him. When he won, Magnus said it was just a game, no big deal. He couldn't understand why people were making such a fuss.
Why does all people want to talk with little me,
Magnus's parents took him and his sisters out of school for a year, rented out their house, sold their car. It was part holiday, mostly chess. They went to Reykjavik, Iceland, which is where Magnus took a leap into legend, when he was matched against Garry Kasparov, the Russian, considered by many to be the greatest ever. And how did Magnus prepare? By reading up. Kasparov kept the 13-year-old kid waiting for half an hour, and when he did arrive, he didn't even say hello. It was speed chess, the Formula One of the sport, a race against the clock. Kasparov started slow. Magnus started getting bored.
I sat there for a few seconds, and then I thought to myself, You know what, I don't know why he's thinking, but I know what my response is going to be anyway, so I'll just walk off and watch the other games.
Kasparov had never played anyone so young, but he did not exude confidence or happiness, and he did not win. Magnus played him to a draw. It was a sensation. Kasparov left quickly. No nice game, kid. Nothing. How did Magnus react? Guess. He thought he had blown it.
When I actually got the winning position, I had little time. I was nervous, and I couldn't finish him off.
Why were you nervous?
I was playing Kasparov. I was intimidated.
You were intimidated by playing the world champion when you were already 13 years old?
Yeah, go figure.
It warranted a celebration, of course, and Magnus got to choose.
Yes, I went with my family and had some ice cream at McDonald's.
By the time he was 19, the boy with the ice cream had become #1 in the world.
He has a very deep understanding of chess.
Frederick Friedel's company, Chessbase, publishes the world's most popular chess program. Is this an indication of genius?
Of genius and raw talent. Now, Magnus has still hasn't reached his peak. He hasn't really worked yet.
I've heard him described as lazy, which I find quite extraordinary.
I think that's an impolite term, but it's probably appropriate.
Except when he's not. Magnus plays soccer whenever he can break away from the board. He's got a mean backhand, and he's moonlighting as a model. There's never been much money in chess, but Magnus is changing that. Sponsors are lining up to endorse him. He's making about $1.5 million a year. But it's a solitary life. Magnus is on the road 200 days a year now. Between matches, he is alone in his hotel room, getting ready for tomorrow's game. He works out almost every day, knows he can't concentrate, for it's often 7 hours unless he's in shape. Magnus says he wouldn't be able to tolerate this life if it weren't for his father, who's always there for him. When you travel with Magnus, what's your role?
I'm a servant and a chess fan.
You enjoy the games.
Yes.
And so, he says, does Magnus. Boy, when you look at him, when I look at him, enjoyment is not the word that comes to mind.
It should. Maybe you have to compare it to a writer or a painter. I mean, probably if you see them at work, they're not smiling or having an easy time. They're exploiting their mind to the utmost, and the same with the chess players.
But that level of concentration is not danger-free. A fair number of grandmasters have gone mad, which is what happened to Bobby Fischer in his later years.
This was not an arrest. This was a kidnapping. It was all cooked up.
Do you ever think about that?
Yes, I do. You know, when I was watching the recent film about Bobby Fischer, I was thinking, you know, is this going to be me in a few years? I don't think that's going to happen, but you know, it made me think a little bit that, you know, I have to be aware of this at least.
People have described you as the Mozart of chess. How do you react to that?
Yeah, maybe, but was Mozart ever asked how he does this? I don't. I would be very impressed if he had a good answer to that, because I think what he would say is that it just comes natural to me. It's what I do.
Which is what you say.
Yeah.
It's what he does for fun, too, at the Oslo Chess Club where he started. He's playing a Norwegian grandmaster here. It's called bullet chess, and Magnus has a handicap. His opponent is given 3 minutes to make his moves. Magnus has 1. It's just a friendly match, but Magnus always hates to lose, so he doesn't.
Whistle. got him.
Yeah, I got him.
Chess has been around for 1,500 years, but until a couple of summers ago, the ancient game was still mostly a mystery to the folks of rural Franklin County, Mississippi. Few had ever played chess before. Many confused it with checkers. A chessboard was as out of place in the county as a skyscraper. But that all changed when a tall stranger arrived from Memphis to bring chess to the country, with a belief that the game could transform a community. He was initially met with bewilderment. Who was this 6'6" outsider, and why would anyone come to Franklin County to teach chess? Less than 2 years later, a chess boom is underway in the unlikeliest of places. Tucked deep in the southwest corner of Mississippi lies remote Franklin County, where the trains don't stop anymore. Half the county is covered by a national forest. The other half, it seems, by churches. This is the buckle of the Bible Belt. 7,000 people live here, and no one's in a hurry. There are only 2 stoplights in the entire county, and 1 elementary school.
What's this called?
So imagine everyone's surprise when Dr. Jeff Bewlington showed up at school to teach the kids of Franklin County a new subject. Chess.
So everybody say, checkmate.
Checkmate.
Before Dr. B came to town, had you played chess before?
I didn't have a clue how to move the pieces or nothing.
Only time I saw was on TV.
Donovan Moore, Braden Farrell, Parker Wilkinson, and Benson Shuxnadre didn't know what to make of Dr. B, as he's known, when he first appeared in 2015.
What did you think of Dr. B when you first met him?
That's 12-foot man.
The 12-foot man.
Whenever he came into the room saying he was planning on teaching us chess, I was like, what? Why would somebody come down here?
In the middle of nowhere. You're a logical guy, and it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
If there are people there, it's not nowhere. This is somewhere. It's just a somewhere that doesn't get a lot of attention.
Jeff Bewlington was lured to Franklin County by a wealthy benefactor who wishes to remain anonymous. The benefactor had seen how Bewlington had molded chess champions in Memphis, in one of the most distressed zip codes in America, and wondered if chess could take hold in the country.
Where can you put the king?
He convinced Bewlington to give a few demonstration lessons in Franklin County.
Does that stop him from coming here? Afterwards, I was asked, so, hey, what do you think? Do you think these kids have it? You know, could you have a chess program here? And yeah, of course, they're as smart as any other kids I've ever met.
Motivated by the challenge, Bewlington signed a 10-year contract with a benefactor and left the city for the country.
What is he doing? He's X-raying the king.
Bewlington has taught chess for the better part of 25 years.
What's so wonderful about the bishop, and why might we think of it as an archer? Like, for instance...
He may not be a grandmaster, but he's a master of using chess to tell a narrative, especially with beginners.
This is a story about a little girl and a stranger and the little girl's daddy. Elizabeth and the Stranger is just my adaptation of Little Red Riding Hood to the chessboard. Elizabeth needs to get down here to E1 where school is, where she'll be safe. It involves just simply teaching how a pawn moves and a king moves. Oh no. Is she gonna make it?
I told you this is a bad idea.
I remember my partner in this project saying to me, we'd have maybe 12 kids playing chess. And he didn't know what to expect.
And how many kids do you have playing chess right now?
Well, a couple hundred. Hey, how are you?
Students flock to Bewlington in part because at heart, he's one of them. He grew up in rural Indiana and identifies with kids who have to feed the chickens, count tarantulas as pets, and have different tastes in food.
What do you like to eat?
Fried rattlesnake.
Fried rattlesnake?
Go to my house. If we ever find a rattlesnake in a course of like a week or so, you're getting some fried rattlesnake.
Bewlington's opened up a new world to his kids.
Check.
This is a famous game by Morphy against Count Isouard and Duke of Brunswick. This was played in Paris. This is Paris.
We teach history, we teach geography, we teach science, we teach math, we teach it all using the chessboard.
Bobby Poole is a part-time preacher and a full-time assistant chess coach for Bewlington. Poole says there were doubts that Bewlington could succeed in Mississippi.
All the statistics, everything you look at, Mississippi is the poorest, it's the dumbest, it's the fattest. We know that the rest of the nation has that conception of us.
People said that country kids couldn't learn chess.
And?
He showed them different.
We proved them wrong.
Proof came last spring in Starkville, where Bewlington's team of mostly elementary school kids from Franklin County faced off against much older high school players at the Mississippi State Championships. Rebecca Griffin was in the 5th grade.
What was their reaction when they saw you, a little 5th grader, sitting across the table from them?
One of them started bragging to their friends about how he got easy pickings.
Is that a little scary, playing somebody who looked that much older than you?
I didn't really think about it until somebody told me, "You played a guy with a beard?"
You guys roll in and they say, "Who are these kids?" right?
Well, they were basically like trying to say we were a joke because we were kids. But after the game, we usually beat them, and they were like very shocked.
Don't you guys feel bad you beat all those older kids?
No,
I never
not
feel
at all.
bad.
I don't want that to make me seem like a cruel person, but I really am just okay with crushing people's spirits.
In the end, Franklin County dominated the state championships.
What happened is a bunch of hillbillies beat the snot out of a bunch of really highly educated, sophisticated people. So that's what happened.
Mitch Ham was among the many parents in Starkville. He thinks the victory served as a milestone for Franklin County's kids.
That was very sobering for them to suddenly realize, wow, we are good. So them having the realization of their own potential was a beautiful moment.
How did the other teachers react?
Over the course of my career in teaching chess, people say things like, I did not know that he could do something like that, or even something as simple and as crass as I did not know he was smart or she was smart or something like that.
What does that tell you?
It tells me some people got it wrong, that some kids have been underestimated or written off for reasons that are false.
Chess has helped Bewlington's players see there's more to themselves than they've seen before.
Chess is like something that I'm really good at for once.
Has it changed you at all?
It has. My grades have went up.
Your grades have gone up?
Oh, my grades used to be like low, medium, low B's. Now they're A's and high B's. I feel like chess could take us anywhere, but it's not about where it takes us, it's about how far it takes us.
Last year, only 7 of the 93 graduates from Franklin County High School went on to a 4-year college. But every chess player we spoke to plans to attend college someday.
It's really shocked me how far he's came.
Jennifer Rutland is Braden's mom. She runs the First and Main Cafe, one of the few places in the county that serves a hot meal. She believes her son won't be flipping burgers for a living.
Is it fun to see your kids dream a little bigger than the county line?
Yes. So big that it's almost like, Braden, come on, get real.
Yeah.
It just gets so big.
You always want to see your kids go further. And I think chess can be a vehicle to take them there. This gives them a window at a young age that, hey, there's a whole world out there. I don't need to set my goals at making $8 an hour. I need to set my goals at whatever I want them to be.
Chess has filled a social void and given Main Street a pulse. In October, a new chess center opened in the middle of Meadville, the county seat.
Do you feel like chess has made the community more hopeful?
Certainly parts of it, yeah. Right, I mean, this flower hasn't bloomed yet. It's just starting to, right? There's a lot yet to come.
The chess center has become like a beacon in the county. Each day after school, kids who have the desire and aptitude receive more instruction from Bewlington.
So what does black do?
They've become so immersed in the game with its infinite number of possible moves that when these students finish playing chess, they go home and play more chess.
Can the best chess player in the world come from Franklin County?
Maybe.
Absolutely.
It's super possible.
Before they could take on the world, they would have to face the nation.
We'll take care of him.
The week before Christmas, 33 of Franklin County's chess wonders and their parents gathered in the school parking lot.
Y'all are coming back, right?
To begin a 10-hour journey to Nashville for their biggest test yet, the National Championships. As day
Queen G7, excellent.
turned into night, Bulington and his students were lost in what they call the chess dimension.
Where are we?
Well, I don't know where we are. We're just in the middle of it. We're in the middle of problem number 9. That's all I know.
Preparing in their own language
Knight D4, attacking the queen and threatening queen takes H3 check.
for what lay ahead, a weekend of intense chess. More than 1,500 players from 644 schools gathered in a giant ballroom at Opryland.
Please shake your opponent's hand.
For 7 rounds of chess over 3 days. Every grade, K through 12, was vying for a national title. The best teams come from the best schools in New York City. And 2 hours into the tournament, it appeared as if little Franklin County was overmatched. After round 1, the kids from Mississippi had lost 30 of their first 32 games.
You know, it's a real struggle, and they're going to learn to struggle at this level, and they're learning that they have to struggle at a different level than they ever have before.
What's the feeling when you walk in here as a player, as a coach, as a parent?
It's a deep, agonistic experience, right?
Deep agonistic experience.
Yeah, it's real, true competition based on skill alone, right? You look around and you can see it in the parents' faces as much as the kids, that there's something significant at stake here.
Nervous parents from other programs tried to sneak a closer peek into the ballroom, desperate for any news. After their shaky start, Franklin County's players bore down, taking more time, probing for openings, watching for threats. A Bulington mantra played in their heads: let your opponent show you how they'd like to lose.
Today's the last day, it's the hardest day, and it's...
By Sunday, with the final 2 rounds looming, Franklin County's 5th and 6th graders were hovering near the top 10.
Everybody needs to fight for those points today. We need them very much.
Parker Wilkinson, Braden Farrell, and Benson Shuxnadre all delivered for Franklin County. That left Donovan Moore, who was mired in a 2.5-hour struggle against a higher-rated opponent from Kentucky. On the verge of victory, Donovan was asked for a draw. He said no. His opponent snapped. The tension of the event bursting to the surface. Donovan Moore eventually won, boosting Franklin County's 5th graders to number 8 in the country.
Making their debut to the stage, Franklin County Upper Elementary.
The 6th graders placed 10th, 2 grades in the nation's top 10, only a year and a half after Jeff Bulington first showed up to introduce chess to a small county in Mississippi.
One thing that I don't think I say enough is thank you.
I was thinking the same
for teaching us all this.
What are they capable of?
Somewhere in the top 3, at least.
You think you can stick it out for 8 more years from Franklin County?
I won't even think of it as sticking it out.
What do you think of it as?
I think of it as doing what I want to do, being in a place I like to be.